The development of both the NES and the arcade versions of Balloon Fight began around 1982. The game began with Gunpei Ikoi's idea to make a game about fighting with a sense of floating through space. Although both versions were developed around the same time, the versions were delegated to separate teams, and despite being on similar hardware, the two games were programmed separately. Satoru Iwata of HAL Laboratory was put in charge of programming the home version. Iwata was considered to be an exceptional programmer, and reportedly had even memorized the code of the game to speed up his work, while most programs at the time would have had a large index containing information about the game. During development, the team working on Versus Balloon Fight was having difficulty making the player move smoothly, which was not an issue in the NES version. When Toshihiko Nakago went to ask Iwata how he made the movement of his version so smooth, Iwata explained that his version of the game used decimal points to increase precision. Another small issue that occurred during development was when Yoshio Sakamoto was asked by Yokoi to create the sprites for a bubble. At first, Sakamoto believed it couldn't be done, since the NES couldn't make transparent sprites. Although, after some experimentation, he was able to make a sprite that reasonably looked and animated like a bubble would. Around the time when the game was almost finished, Yokoi had asked Iwata to make another game mode, and had outlined what his ideas were. Just 3 days after that, Iwata had finished making Balloon Trip, the new game mode that Yokoi had asked for. Soon after this, when Yokoi was playtesting the game as usual, he finished and then asked Iwata to make some fixes, which normally would have taken quite some time to implement. However, before Yokoi left the room, Iwata had already finished programming in all the fixes that he had asked for. The game was finally released on January 22nd, 1985 for the Famicom in Japan, and soon afterward in August the next year for the NES in the United States. Overall, the game sold around 920,000 copies, and even to this day is sold in some form through Virtual Console and other re-releases.